So, hi everybody. First, may this shir be לעילוי נשמת הנרצחים ולהחזרת השבויים החטופים ולהצלחת מדינת ישראל וחיילי צה"ל בעזרת השם. So thank you very much, Rabbi Yitzchok, for this amazing opportunity. So I will be speaking about Pshat. Okay. My name is Elnatan. Right, I'm Elnatan, and I live in Israel. I'm a doctor for the Hebrew language. My main subject is the Hebrew, the Bible, biblical Hebrew, and the grammarians, the medieval grammarians, the first, the Rishonim, the first Rishonim, mainly that lived in Spain. They were actually at the end of the time of the Geonim. It's even before the Rishonim. So they wrote mainly in Arabic, most of them. So the only exception was actually Menachem ben Saruk, who wrote his dictionary, Machberet Menachem, in Hebrew, and Dunash ben Labrat, who wrote against him and their students. But that's the exception. In those times, in those places, everybody wrote in Arabic. Like, of course, you know, Rambam wrote in Arabic, and Rabbeinu Bachye, and Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, and everybody wrote in Arabic. That was the language everybody spoke and everybody read and wrote. And also
Halacha too, or just philosophy?
Also halacha, of course. All the responsa, the shooting, Rambam. Rambam wrote all of his works except Mishneh Torah in Arabic, and also some of the responsa, if they wrote to him in Hebrew, so he responded in Hebrew. If in Arabic, and most of them I think were in Arabic, he responded in Arabic. So even halacha, and also the grammar, the Hebrew grammar, were written paradox as it sounds. Was the biblical grammar was written in Arabic. Okay. Now the Arabic we're talking about is what they call Judeo-Arabic. Judeo-Arabic is basically some sort of, it's really close to the classic Arabic, but it's written in Hebrew letters. Okay. So that's how the Rambam wrote, and all the grammarians. And part of what I'm doing is I'm working on editions of those grammarians, which actually put the base of all the grammar, and therefore for the exegesis, the classic exegesis for the Bible. Radak is, I think, maybe the most known grammarian, but he mostly known not for his grammar, but for his exegesis of the Bible. Also, Ibn Ezra, same thing. They both wrote grammar books, but they all based almost exclusively on Ibn Janach. Rabbi Yehuda Chayuj and Ibn Janach, those were the first that they lived in Spain and wrote in Judeo-Arabic. So I'm working on editions of those wonderful, the works of those grammarians. I'm translating them from Arabic into Hebrew, and well, that's part of what I'm doing. So I want to talk about Pshat. Okay, Pshat meaning the Pshat of the Bible, of the script, Pshuto shel Mikra. So, what is the Pshat? Well, the simplest thing to say is the Pshat Pshat is simple, right? Is the simplest way to understand what's written, but maybe it's not so simple. I mean, when I think about Pshuto shel Mikra, about the Pshat, what do I mean exactly? Or I can ask, how do I get to the Pshat? How do I achieve the Pshat? So I think that Pshat, as the word reflects, should be the most simple thing to understand. Okay, so now that may sound obvious, but so what does it mean, the most simple thing? Now, when I think of Pshat, how to get to the simplest understanding of what's written, I sometimes think like of sakin shchita, right? In order to be kosher, you should put your nail through it, and it should be smooth, right? If it has like holes or something like that, bumps or something, then something's wrong with it. So when I think of Pshat, I'm thinking about reading a word or a phrase or a pasuk, and it should be smooth. Now, in what terms it should be smooth? Well, in many terms, but one of the main things is in terms of grammar. Now, that's what grammar is all about. Grammar, basically, is observing the language. Now we're speaking about biblical grammar, so the grammar of the biblical Hebrew, right, of the Lashon HaKodesh. So we observe Lashon HaKodesh, we observe all the Bible, and we sort the phenomena. Okay, I'm saying like generally, we see how it works, and we see structures, etc., and we sort them and we describe them, and we see how it works. Now, in every lechol klal yesh yotzei min haklal, and you have many exceptions in any grammatical rule, and those exceptions usually make headaches for the grammarian. Well, he's giving a rule, and if he's honest, he's saying, but you have exceptions, this and this and that, and whatever. Those are exceptions. Either he explains them or leaves them like that. The best thing one could do is to take those exceptions and make another rule for them, right? So that makes it, again, smooth, I'd say. So that's basically the grammar. Now, when you have the normal structures, you know the norm, right? So when you read a pasuk, for example, if you're sensitive enough in terms of grammar, and not only grammar, I'm going to talk about, you have logic, you have other things, so you can sense that something is wrong there, something doesn't fit, okay? And then you have to explain it, or to do something with it, or leave it like that. Or if you have a common explanation, but you feel something's wrong there, so you may consider to look at it from a different angle or something like that. Now, when you reach to the smoothness where everything fits to the norm, to the rules of grammar, of logic, of context, that's what I would take as Pshat. Okay. Now, I don't know if it sounds obvious or not, but that's how I see it. The first grammarians wrote that this is the simplest meaning of Dibrat Torah Kilishon Bnei Adam. The Torah speaks like people speak. And how people speak? They speak in order for you to understand the simplest way, right?
Not with the proper grammar, though.
Well, that's the question. You're talking about that the common person doesn't necessarily speaks like he should be speaking, right? But well, there's a space for that also. But the Torah, in principle, the grammar is consistent, okay, and you can observe that. When you fix someone the way he talks, you basically fix them according to the rules of the Bible or of the Lashon Chazal. You see, so it's there. But also, people have natural grammar in their head. Okay, that's a different subject. But
the grammar say that you're saying a new Pshat in this Manach, or just using, no, let's say, the Rambam has his Pshat in Dibur Torah, Kelushim and the Rambam is very, very busy with that. The Torah is talking how human beings could, it's not the real, it's not, we're talking how...
You're asking about the way I interpreted this sentence?
You said this language, I'm asking if you're trying to give a new Perushin's Manach, or just...
Of the Torah B'Lishon Bnei Adam? It's not me, it's grammarians said that.
They give a new Pshat, or this is the typical Pshat?
This is the Pshat, isn't it? What do the words mean? Dibrat Torah ki Lishon Bnei Adam. What is Lishon Bnei Adam?
Lafi cannot pshita, you know, like the Chazon Ish says. It's not like street language. It's the elite Bnei Adam.
Yeah. The grammarians said this before us.
Certain word like a mot yimat, you know, we don't talk like that.
Well, that's our problem, isn't it? No, the language has changed. Okay. We should understand what that meant, all right? Okay, so...
There are times that like the grammar is like intentionally violated, like poetry,
all right, you're right.
Violating the grammar itself to convey.
You're right, but you said yourself, poetry is something different. I wouldn't say violate the grammar rules. I'd say, widen them or manipulate them or something like that. It's more artistic, but that's poetry. You're right, and poetry has.
It's like leaving, let's say, a comma absent, and wants you to place in one or two locations with a capitalized and in odd places.
You're right. Oh, no, you're describing modern poetry. Yeah, but same thing, basically. Right. You're right. But most of the Bible isn't poetry, actually. I think it's what you call prose, right? So the first grammarians, the first grammarian was Rav Saadia Gaon, the first Jew who wrote grammar per se was Rav Saadia Gaon. I'm skipping of him.
Grammar means digduk.
Digduk. Right, digduk. Nahu, because it was in Arabic. Okay. They didn't use neither grammar or digduk, right? It was nahu.
Basically, they wrote books on how to use this language, how it works, the klalim of the language.
Yes.
How many words?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So the first medakdekim. I'm speaking about Menachem ben Saruk, and after him Rabbi Yehuda Chayuj and Rabbi Yonah ben Janach, and after it was Rabbi Yosef Kimchi and Rabbi David Kimchi, etc. They declare it. They wrote the dikduk. Their aim was to get a better understanding of the Bible. At first, it was a better understanding, and as times go on, to get to the best understanding, to the most accurate understanding of the Bible. They wanted to get to the Pshat. Okay, that was their goal. So I want to give some examples, and on the way, I'm going to describe like the gilgulim of the medakdekim and what they've done. I don't know how much time we're going to have, but whatever we'll get to. So
Are you in a rush?
I'm not in the rush, but I don't want to hold you here like for hours. I can speak hours, but whatever will make it. So I'm skipping of Rav Saadia Gaon for several reasons, and I'm getting to the to one of Avot HaDikduk, which Menachem ben Saruk. You all have obviously heard of him. If you haven't read his book, so you heard of him obviously through Rashi, who quotes him quite a lot. So he wrote a dictionary, which is called, he didn't call it like that, it's called Machberet Menachem. That wasn't his name, that was a kinui it was given. And he didn't write a grammar per se. He wrote a dictionary. Why did he write the dictionary? Because he wanted people, if they don't understand the word in the Bible, so they open his book and see what it means. That's simple as it is. And so he didn't write a grammar book, but he has many grammar rules in it for several reasons. One of the main things we know about him, his method, is his root concept. And he declares his root concept and he works by that. I think, again, not for the sake of the theory, but for the sake of arranging his dictionary, because he had, I don't know how many of you have ever written a dictionary. It's not that simple, okay? The first thing you have to decide is how you're arranging your dictionary, okay? So the first grammarians who wrote dictionaries, they wrote not dictionary like we know it, which is ordered according to the alphabet of the words, but they wrote the roots dictionary. So everything is alphabetically, but according to the roots, not to the word itself, okay? So, but there's a question: how do you? What is the root of a word? How do you define a root, the root of a word? So when you have, I don't know, shamar, shmira, shomer, etc., that's easy, okay? That's shin mem resh, and those three letters are consistent in all the declinations you have. So that's easy. But what about the word yeshiva? So we have yud shin bet, but when you start to decline right, lehatot, right? That's a known munach. Decline. That's all right. That's the munach in linguistics. Lehatot. Lehatot et hapoal. Take it in past, future, all the tenses, all the conjugation. Okay, the conjugation throughout the paradigm. Okay, so when you start to do that, you see you have in the past yeshav, but in the future yeshev, teshev, neshev. Right. So the yud of yeshav is lost. Right. So what is the root of these words?
Who told you it can't be two letters?
Who told you what?
It can't be two letters.
Well, we're Menachem ben Saruk. We should decide. You should decide, right?
Shev is also...
Exactly, Shev, right? And also you have one letter. Okay, in a second. So what he decided to do, either...
He's the first to study it or the first to print it in Masada?
He's the first to write a comprehensive biblical dictionary. Okay? Again, Rav Saadia Gaon has written, but it wasn't comprehensive, and it was also in Arabic. He wrote it in Hebrew.
Times of writing B'chlal, you know.
What do you mean?
The Bunus Avruah didn't write, the Meruim didn't write, you know, they didn't write. It was the first books is the chiefs of Gaon, no?
No, you have the Gaonim. You have a couple hundreds of years.
That's what I'm talking about. He's a Gaon.
These are in the period of the last Gaonim, but you had a couple hundreds of years before that they wrote, and we know who wrote it.
So you're saying that he was the first to study it?
To study this subject. Yeah, but what I'm saying that because he was writing, he was like the first to write this whole dictionary. So what he decided, and either because that's what he got into theoretically, or because that was the most convenient way he could think of. So he thought, or he asserted, that the root of a word consists of only the letters that maintain throughout the declension, throughout the paradigm, right? So in our examples, obviously the yud omits in some of the tenses, so the yud is not part of the shoresh. So the shoresh of yeshav is shav. The shoresh of kam, lakum, kima, kiyem, kiyimu is just kuf mem, all right? Now, what is the shoresh of hiza, lehazot, right? it's only a zayin, because you have, for example, vayez nitzcham, or to hit is vayach. So the vav is of naturally vav chibur, and the yud is for the future. You have only kaf. So kaf is the root. Okay, so that's his method about the Hebrew roots, and that's how he like Sider, how he ordered the dictionary. Okay, now this method may be good for you to know how to find words if you know the method, but it has obviously some very big chesronot. Okay.
You have to repeat certain, like Chafnan, right?
Exactly. Oh, now, how he wanted you or us to use the dictionary, he says that you have all the roots here. You bump into a word, you're not sure what's its meaning, or you're not sure what its meaning in the very context you're in. So you're going to the root in the dictionary. Now, because of this method, for example, if you take shin bet, so obviously you have more than one meaning for it, because you have yashav, to sit, and then you have lashuv, to return, which also consists of those two letters, shav, and then you have shava, lishbot, to capture, and you have also nashav, the wind blows, because mashiv aruach, you don't have a nun there, and you have shovav, right? So specific, this entry of Shin Bet in Menachem's dictionary consists of 8 meanings, or 8 8 meanings, 8 different meanings. So what he suggests us to do, so you go to Shin Bet if you encounter in this route, and you go throughout the meanings, and you should decide which is the best meaning that fits in the place you're in.
With the Shin Bet, there's a yid, sometimes in the middle of vav, it changes the meaning.
Right, but the vav, if it's not part of the root, so you know.
It's up to your interpretation. Saying
Exactly, because Shin Bet consists of those 8
meanings.
8 meanings.
Mashe v'riach is only with the yid. Without
Which
the yid,
one? Ma?
Mashiva
Mashiva ruach.
take out the yud, the word is not mashe, you know. So the root, it should be part of the root, and like mamuris.
That's the limitation of this method. Is that
You don't have to go look what the meaning is, you know. With
So,
the yid,
well, you're criticizing Menachem's method.
I'm asking because I simply want to understand what you said.
When you
Why
say,
do we have to look for a meaning? Mashiv cannot mean chef.
well, there are places that it's obvious, but there are places that it's not.
If
I'll give you an example in a minute.
Mashiv would be chusa with a chilik, you wouldn't be able to define that.
All right, let's take
Right.
Mashiva ruach, right? Right, Mashiva ruach. I heard people that thought that Mashiva ruach may mean he's making the wind like go back and forth, return it. Lahashiv, right? Lahashiv is to return.
So it could be that's the shortage of the word. Like, that's the reason that they play on words. The choice of word, when you make language, you do use like that words. Where you want to say blowing, you could use back and forth words to bring out the meaning.
All right, but later on, after Menachem, they started to be more methodological, more consistent. We'll see just about that, but actually it's not about lahashiv, to return, it's from nashav, to blow. That's different meaning. Okay, so there are places which is not that obvious. Okay, so
Saying all these words, let's say you said under the Pshat, has one idea, or it's very clear both have.
well, they have one basic idea. It could be, it could have like sub meanings, like more gentle ones, but the basic idea is clear.
That he said in Shav has some, because a lot of he said a few types of meanings that it has. Yeah, and there's something common denominator between all these ideas.
It's a good question.
Oh, if no.
Chashmal,
No.
the common denominator of blue. You know?
You're asking if there's one basic meaning to all the 8.
Yeah.
No,
No?
not according to him.
Definitely.
Later on, there were some grammarians who seek that that idea. But yeah, that approach. So you see, in this method, it's not that how do I call it scientific, because you have a big space for understanding a single word. Okay, it had got us like closer, because before that you didn't have even that. It was, go and seek whatever what's the meaning. So he got us closer. But so now, for example, all right, we talked about Shin Bet. There's a pasuk in Hosea which goes like this. That's the second part of it. The prophet, he says like this: Ki shevavim yihye egel shomron. Okay, shevavim yihye egel shomron. That's a nevuat pur'anut about egel shomron, the egel that Yerovam has made, and he speaks that it's going to be, well, that's what I'm asking. Something bad is going to happen to Egel Shomron, right? So, according to Menachem, if we want to understand it, what does Shvavim mean? So we're going to Shin Bet, and we're going throughout the 8 meanings, and we're deciding which is the best. Okay. So this dictionary doesn't have all the words in the Bible naturally. He has only examples. So other examples you have to decide yourself. Specifically, this word does appear in the dictionary, and you know where does he put it? He puts it in the section of shava, lishbot, to capture. Okay? Now, it doesn't matter that it has 2 bets, because in his method, the extra bet can be omitted, so it's not part of the root, so again, it's only shin bet. So he's saying, Ki shvavim yegel shomron, meaning it's going to be captured and taken away, etc. Okay?
Can you please repeat the pasuk?
The what? I'm sorry?
Can you repeat
Yeah.
the pasuk?
Ki shevavim yihye egel shomron. Shevavim. Okay.
What's the curse that they're going to take this little animal, this little toy, they're going to take it? What's the curse?
Yeah, well, it's going to be gone. It's going to be go away from Eretz Yisrael, right? It's Tuma. Now, later on, it was simpler to explain this word from the root shin bet bet. After it, when you have, okay, now it's actually more simple, and that's what everybody says after Menachem, when everything got more sophisticated. That the root is shin bet bet, and meaning fire. Okay, you have shviv, shviv and shvivin dinur also in the Aramaic. Now, he knows this section. He has shvivin dinur and shviv esh. It's the 8th section in this root, shin bet. But he thinks that more, I don't know, for his reason, that he thinks it's more proper to explain that as to capture. Okay. So that's Menachem. Now, he had a student. It was called Yehuda ben, well, it was Rabbi Yehuda Chayuj, Yehuda ben David. Yehuda ben David Chayuj. And he...
You say it's the same. It's not such a clear thing.
Well, yeah. There was a dispute whether Yehuda ben David, the student of Menachem, and Rabbi Yehuda Chayuj are the same persons, but it's almost certainly it was. That was, yeah, you're right. It was a dispute, but I think it's pretty clear now. Anyway, he was a generation after Menachem, and he claimed that every Hebrew root, that a Hebrew root does not consist less than 3 radicals, 3 letters. There's in the verb, at least, not less than 3 letters. Now, what would he do with all those biliteral and single literal of Menachem? So that's what the book he wrote is about, to prove and to explain what's happening with those extra or with those omitted letters. Now, what does that do? How does that make us closer to the Pshat? Well, naturally, if you take this Shin Bet, So this 8 meanings, Shin Bet, now it spreads to at least 5 different sections. One is Yashav, the root Yashav. One is Shuv, one is Shava, one is Nashav, and one is Shavav, right? So now when you encounter, and furthermore, he was actually the one that discovered or at least described the paradigms of the verb, of those what you call there's sound verbs and there's weak verbs, the weak verbs, okay? The weak verbs that not all of the letters appear all the time. So he was the one to discover, Yeshav, because in the future the Yud omits, right? So that's a weak.
How do you call it in Hebrew?
Palim Machaserim, Machalashim. It's in Arabic. In Arabic you call them Alulim. Alulim means sick. Sick. Weak and sick, right. As opposed to sound. Okay, Shamar, Katav, etc. Those are the sound verbs, which are like Bri'im, right? In Arabic it's Shlemim. Okay. So, now when you encounter a word you're not sure of, first of all, you see how it is built, okay? Because he discovered the paradigms, he described the paradigms. So when you have Yeshuv, for example, it can't be from the root Shava, Shin Bet Hey, because it looks in a certain way, okay? So he ordered all the paradigms of all the different sorts of roots, and now everything is much, much clearer. So if you see Shvavim, you cannot explain this as captured because it just doesn't fit. It's not from that, mishpacha of root, okay? So that immediately makes us more closer to the Pshat because you have much less options in every root, right? So that's one thing he did.
Means? Fire.
Fire. Because it's Shin Bet Bet. That's two. Yeah.
The two bases. That's his
Yeah.
third letter.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, I'll give you a very fascinating example of what Chayud did. Chayud is considered to be Avia Dikduk Ivri, actually, because he was the first to make a method, to make a scientific approach to how you analyze the Hebrew roots and the Hebrew verb. So he is considered, for example, Rabbi Avraham ibn Ezra. He has a famous Hakdama in Sefer Moznaim or Tzachot. I don't remember, one of his grammar books, where he describes all the Zkenei Lashon HaKodesh, all the grammarians, starting from Sadigon to his time. And he's saying that upon all the grammarians, up until Rabbi Yehuda Chayud, Tardemat Hashem nafla aleim. And Chayud was the one that Hekitz mishnat ha'ivelet, Hekitz mishenat ha'ivelet. Okay, that's harsh words if you think of them.
How many roots of Velas means?
Sorry?
How many roots of Velas means? Maybe it means something good.
All right. It has actually another meaning than Ivelet. It has.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. But the Pshat, okay? The Pshat, so a nice example. He observed he looked at the verb halach, okay? And he describes that in the past you have halach, hey lamed kaf, and also in the present, well, benoni, it's called benoni, you have holech, holchim, etc. But in the future tense, suddenly you have yelech, right? Okay, now that doesn't fit exactly, because yelech acts like yeshev, yered, yetzeh, all of which belong to the roots that begins with a yud. Okay, yered, it's from the root yarad, yeshev from yeshav, yetzeh from yatza, right? So yelech looks like a verb that begins with a yud, not with a hey. Where's the hey? If you have hadaf, you have yahadof, right? You don't have much verbs with hey, but sorry?
It should be halech.
Right. Although you have some with hey, but it should have been like regularly yahaloch, right? Or yehelach. Or... Okay, first of all, to see the problem here, right? So, because he was the one that dealt with the structures of the verbs and the paradigms, it's scientific, so you have to stick to the method. So he said that halach and yelech are actually two different roots, right? The conjugate, the past tense, and the benoni, and everything that consists with hey, from the root halach, obviously. And the rest is from the root yalach, yud lamed kaf. That's a different root, but he's saying that why are they used together? Because they meant closely the same, and it might be also a different dialect, he's saying, but it was mixed. Not entirely mixed, because it's pretty, the past tense, and the benoni with the hey, and the future tense, and also in hif'il, you have holich. Holich is like horid, hotzi, whatever. So it consists of two different roots that are used together, okay? Now that's interesting claim, right? Interesting, but that's what he said. How did he got to this? Only by observation, by the analysis of the structures of the verb. Okay, why am I saying that? Because no, you don't see the root yalach. You don't have yalach, right? You have only halach or yelech, but you don't see the yud ever. You don't see it. Now, much later, like in the 19th century, there was a scholar, a Christian one. He was named Pretorius, and he claimed that there is only one root. The root is halach, exactly like you tried to say, I think, right? And he explained, or he tried to explain, how did forms like yelech and holich were born. He showed it nicely and convincing. It was convincing, and for more than 100 years, this theory was the scientific one. Okay, because you don't have not in Hebrew and not in any other language we know of, the root yalach. This was up until the late 20s of the past century, like almost 100 years ago. In the late 20s, they digged Ugarit. Okay, the city of Ugarit, it's like an ancient city. It's in Lebanon, I think now, and there, it's a whole city, and whatever that means, and they also discovered the Ugaritic, their language. They have many texts there, and they deciphered it, and they discovered it. Now, this language is very much similar to Hebrew, to biblical Hebrew, unbelievably similar. And there you find that the common verb for walking is yalach. You see the yud. Okay? Now, what does that mean? That means that there was a dialect. It's considered to be a Canaanic dialect, okay? Right near us, very similar to Hebrew, that they used this root. So this actually was a proof that Chayuj was right, because he was talking about two dialects, and now we know of a dialect like that, and that's for sure he was right, and he got this only by observation. Okay, that's pretty amazing to think of. Okay,
it's the same old that language that uses the same words. It's the same old, the Canonic language. It's called older language than Hebrew. Or?
You're asking comparing to Hebrew?
Yeah. Said, yeah.
Well, the researcher dates Ugaritic for 3,500 years ago. What does that mean to you?
Okay.
It's old. It's pretty old.
They also have the
200 years old.
Older than us, right? What?
They also have the second Shoresh of Halach. They have the hay also.
I'm not sure. I think not. I think not.
No, so it's so maybe go the other way.
That was very.
I don't understand. I'm sorry. I'm not following.
It's a tofu.
Before the dictionaries, we don't have clue on what's a shoydish and what's not. In the Torah, we find the word yelech, no?
But the yud there is the yud of the future. You say yelech and we nelech and telech. The yud is for the third person. What do you call it? Guf shlishi. It doesn't belong to the shorish anyway. Only you only left with lamed kaf. Yelech is like yishmor. The yud of yishmor is not part of the root, right?
I get it.
That's
the
it.
Name of the name Yishmor?
Yishmor. Yishmor, Yichtov. The Yud represents the future tense. So the Yud of Yelech, it's not the same Yud
as making as a verb, as a word, as making.
It's just you call it a prefix.
I got it.
Okay.
So in my mind, you think I don't find anywhere
you don't find.
the word Yelech where the he doesn't make it to be
Future.
Or
so therefore I don't have that word.
well, the other way, where the Yud is part of the root.
That's what they found.
So what was
Where is it relevant to say that
Yeah,
the word
exactly.
exists without the meaning the future? How's
Well, you say halach. They said yalach. In the past tense. You said-
how would they say go? How would they say go? You know, go
In the future,
yeah.
yelech. We say yetza, yetzeh. They say yalach, yelech. That's consistent. That's
an example, but a language that uses the same word and past tense and whatever, and it's a different shoresh. Like this is a tofu.
That's what?
No, it's two
different languages.
We have to
But it
trust
happened-
and we have to trust
And
them
the
that
past
it's
tense
used
they use
like
the
that.
Ogarit and the present.
No. It doesn't say that they use from Ugaritic. The Ugaritic only it's testimony that there was a dialect in which you saw the Yud. Okay, we don't know exactly what
He knows
came
that,
from
he
where,
knows the
but
shit.
that's an evidence that it existed. Okay, but this phenomena that you have like future and past from different roots or different conjugation, I can give you more examples. It happens. Yeah, it happens. Okay, there's also a term for that if you really want. It's called well, I forgot the term now. It's called suppletion, suppletia, suppletion.
And what is another example?
It's not suppletia. All right, so
Different dialects.
it's not me. It's Chayuj who said that. All right. After Chayuj, we have Rabbi Yonah ibn Janach, which I hope some of you have heard of him. Rabbi Yonah ibn Janach is the greatest grammarian of medieval or generally. Okay? And what Ibn Janach did, now, Chayuj, as I told you, he discovered major things. He got the grammar into a new era. Everything was different from now on. But the subject he dealt with wasn't like there weren't many. It was mainly the thing of the root. Okay, that was the main thing. It's not a small thing, but it's comparing to all subject we have in language, it's pretty metzumtzam. Okay, now Ibn Janach, he based his theories solely upon Chayuj's teachings, but he opened everything and widened it, and he was the first to write, again, a full comprehensive grammar of the biblical Hebrew. Now his grammar it consisted of two sections, the grammar section and the dictionary section. Now, so he wrote another dictionary, but now a full one like Menachem did, but on new grounds, on the grounds of Chayuj's discoveries. Okay, so he was the first and the greatest. Okay, basically after Ibn Janach, there are almost no chidushim in grammar. There was other things. There were grammarians that wrote the grammar like more pedagogically, or they arrange it differently.
Any cholkim? No cholkim?
No what?
No machlokes? No cholkim?
Well, of course machlokes. Oh, Ibn Janach drove himself into a pulmusim. You know with who? With Shmuel and Nagid. Shmuel and Nagid. They were. I don't think I have ever read such harsh words between two chachamim like they wrote to each other. Not Raivad on Rambam, not anyone. Unbelievable what they wrote.
What was at stake? Like philosophy or simple?
No, grammar.
That they forced
They cared about
You can't take it, right?
The outcome they fought over. Like you don't curse somebody up. Shevavim, a fire, shevavim, hulach v'shoy.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
Oh, you do.
Usually when it's, I know, but the curse.
They cared about this. Okay, I can say you don't curse anyone for saying to say about halacha like this and like that, but you do, right? Because you care about it. They cared. It began also with Menachem and Dunash and their students. They fought.
More than the Menachem and Menachem, even more than
They much more. But Dunash and Menachem, their students, they insulted each other. It was not nice. They cared. Today nobody cares.
Was it a way of
Did you
speaking
ever
it?
insult them?
It was no. It got to a personal level. Yes, it has.
That was okay, but more they wanted to please the master, Josh Trotter, I don't know.
Oh, the fight, they got into a fight. They got kicked out, both of them, for fighting.
I don't think that it just matters to the. No, I feel like it's important to point out because it's not just a matter of a fight or they care. I think that if you do not pay attention to the principle of the meaning of the definition of individual words, there is no definition to anything. I can say something and I don't mean it. And if you fail by defining the specific words, like Chazal were caring so much about, like mishapara, whoever doesn't stand in your word. Like you say something and you didn't do it, there's a klala, like a mishapara. So it's very fundamental because later on we know that we can even have completely different understanding in the Torah itself. So I think it's not just a matter of I care about it. It's not like I care. It's like my hobby. I care because I see that everything relies.
No, you're right. You're right in principle. I think you're right. The fact is that the disputes were on very specific things, very concrete and small things. That's it. But you're obviously right.
Mm-hmm.
So Ibn Janach, he like unfolded all the
Where did he live?
in Spain,
In Spain.
Muslim Spain. He didn't know Chayuj, but he learned everything from him, and he like unfolded all with
the books?
yes. So he wrote, like I said, a comprehensive grammar book, which is called Sefer HaRikma, and the dictionary is Sefer HaShorashim. Again, it was that these are the Hebrew translation of those books. Okay, it was written everything in Arabic, and then he continues like I see the grammar. All the methods of the grammarians and the grammar itself, like as a tool. Okay, a tool. That's what I said. They were aiming to. It's a tool for better understanding of the Pshat of the Tanakh, and generation after generation they were refining those tools. Okay, the new discoveries and therefore an ongoing refinement of those tools. So Ibn Janach continuing this refinement. And in his book, he has 40-something chapters. Every chapter deals with another aspect of the language. Now he has tons of chidushim comparing to what was before him. I'll give you again one example from his Torah of Pshat, okay, of Pshat of a word. Now, you don't have to accept it. It has its own problems, but again, he developed methods to reduce or to have more possibilities to explain psukim or phrases so that they would be simple. Simple, again, means according to the general method, to the general ways of how the grammar, the syntax, the logic works in the Bible. Okay, so you have a well-known pasuk: "Ki ha'adam etz hasadeh lavo mipanecha b'matzor." Okay, so I think many interpretations were written about this pasuk, many midrashim also, to the extent that sometimes I can't distinct between what is Pshat and what is Midrash. Everything is getting mixed together and you can't tell what's written in it, okay? So it says like this, Ki tatzur el ir yamim rabim lilachem alea. I don't need to translate, right? Or do I? No. Okay. Ki tatzur el ir yamim rabim lilachem alea לתופסה, לא תשחית את עצה לנדוח עליו גרזן, כי ממנו תאכל ואותו לא תכרות. So that's simple. You shouldn't cut trees, fruit trees. Okay. כי האדם עץ השדה לבוא מפניך במצור. Now, I won't ask you what do you think it means. Everybody will think from himself.
One more time.
Sorry? כי האדם עץ השדה לבוא מפניך במצור. Now, it looks like a reason, ki, right? Like, why you shouldn't, לא תשחית את עצה לנדוח עליו גרזן. Well, it says, כי ממנו תאכל ואותו לא תכרות. So it has a reason. And then it says, כי האדם עץ השדה. So another key, maybe another reason, כי האדם עץ השדה לבוא מפניך במצור. So what does it say? Because the man is, כי האדם הוא עץ השדה. What does that mean? האדם הוא עץ השדה? האדם is like עץ השדה? לבוא מפניך במצור? Or maybe it's a question, like some of the Mefarshim says. Like it says, is the man Etz HaSadeh? Ha'im ha'adam hu Etz HaSadeh that he needs to hide from you in the Matzor, right? Okay. This is a difficult explanation also. I'll just read for you. Okay, so it's a difficult pasuk actually. It really is. And any interpretation you will choose from the common ones, you have another problem. You have different problems with the Pshat, either with the Pshat or with the syntax or with the grammar, with the okay, you get it. So I'll just read for you what Ibn Janach says. Now, he's saying that there is a word missing in this pasuk. Okay? Now, I don't know, it might sound astonishing. How can one say this? Well, I'm not going to claim in favor of Ibn Janach. He doesn't need me. But the fact is that he has a whole chapter about things that are, well, at least apparently missing. That includes letters and words and phrases and that are missing. Now, he doesn't go to the level of explaining what happened? How do we got to this situation? Why does it? Okay, he doesn't get into that. He's just saying it's missing, and you should להשלים את זה. Okay. Now,
codex it's missing.
What do you mean from the codex?
Judging by what it's missing, there's not that many Sefer Torahs around.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. לכתחילה it's missing. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't describe how you're describing from the codex, so someone omits it like when copying it. No, that's not what he's saying. I don't know what he thought happened. He's saying by not explaining, he's like entering this phenomena of omitting of things omitted to the grammar, it's like it's a grammatical phenomena that things can be omitted. That's the conclusion of that. So I'm giving you just for a second a different example. Okay, there's a pasuk.
Which word is missing?
Wait. Oh, in a second. You're curious. Okay. In Shoftim, I'm just I'm giving you an obvious example. Okay. In Shoftim it says like this: Vayelech Shimshon Azata, vayar sham isha zona vayavo elea. And the next pasuk says, La'azatim lemor, ba Shimshon hena. La'azatim lemor, what does that mean? Okay, it's evident that something's missing here, and if to judge according to many other psukim that are built the same, Ibn Janach says, and not only him, that it should be written Vayugad la'azatim lemor, or something like that. Okay, they got to know somehow, because Shimshon goes there, and then la'azatim lemor, it doesn't make any sense. So he says, here there's a word missing, and you should lashlim ota. How do you say lashlim? To complete it. To fill it in. So he doesn't insist that it should be vayugad davka, but that the notion of that's the idea. Okay, so that's an obvious example. He has tens of them. He brings tens of examples that
Any more in Torah, not that you have handy?
Sure, I don't remember, but he has tens of them, of course. So he's explained like this. I'm reading, okay? That's my translation into Hebrew. So he says, Ki ha'adam etz hasadeh levo mipanecha b'matzor. רצונו לומר, instead of כי האדם עץ השדה, רצונו לומר כי יעזוב האדם עץ השדה. That makes it completely different thing. Because it doesn't say that האדם עץ השדה, האדם הוא עץ השדה, but כי יעזוב האדם עץ השדה. האדם עוזב את השדה. עכשיו, he explains, ותיבת כי במקום זה בהוראת כאשר. וכוונתו לומר, בעת שתצור על עיר, that goes to the previous פסוק, לא תכרות את עצי הפרי שלה, כאשר ייכנסו אנשי העיר במצור מפניך, וינטשו את ההגנה על עציהם ואת השמירה על מגרשיהם. Now it comes out very, very, very simple. Yes. He's saying like this. כי תצור על עיר ימים רבים, when you're sieging the city, so don't cut its trees, that's okay. עכשיו, כי here means when. That's a common use of this word. One of the usages. Yeah. So, כי האדם עץ השדה mean when the האדם, meaning the people, יעזוב עץ השדה. When the people are leaving the עץ השדה, לבוא מפניך במצור. He's describing this like this. You're coming with your army towards the city, and everybody's working outside in the field, right? Harvesting or whatever. And they see the army, immediately they leave the trees and go inside the city, not to fight, to hide. לבוא מפניך במצור. לבוא is to enter. So they're coming into the city.
Don't destroy the fields on your way to fight for them now.
No, he's trying to make a clearing in order to open it.
That describes what's happening naturally when you come to the siege. And it says, now everything is open. You can do whatever you want. You can cut off the trees. Why would you do that? In order to build the siege. Don't do that. And כי האדם עץ השדה only describes the reality. Don't do that when they leave. Exactly. Okay? Now, besides adding a word, okay, which you can dispute that if that's legit or not. Okay, whatever. That's your right. But besides that, that makes everything clear, everything logic, right? Without any problems, not in the tachbir, in the syntax, not in the.
And this trap that the post doesn't give a time. Why?
That
No, when?
No, it does not give a time.
The-
Why?
Before
It does.
No.
the tam comes before. Ki mimenu tochel. That comes before. Right. Never mind. You know what?
While you have the siege, you're going to eat from it. That's what it means.
What?
While you have the siege, you'll eat from it. Don't be stupid to cut off the trees because you're still going to need it when you're there.
Maybe. No, what I'm saying, it doesn't matter whether that's the reason or it's a chukah, right? It could be without reason. But it describes what's happening naturally, and don't use that situation in order to promote your agendas, all right? That's it. It's simple. It's pshat. It has a problem that you need to add a word, but for that, he brings, like I said, tens of obvious examples, which says that this phenomena occurs, and you can imply it when you need. Oh, okay.
No,
Now,
Where it's logical, where it's obvious, it's obvious.
I think the only word you can put in is vayiga.
Okay.
Over here, the Boni Shaloilam, I mean, he put in such a beautiful thing. I love it, but like it's like his own.
I agree.
What is the logic behind it?
Now, yeah, what's the logic behind it?
Maybe there's our words that we should add and not.
Try
seeking the
try
next
a
sense.
different word. Let's try.
What I'm saying that he's acting.
Huh?
How am I supposed to know?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. That's what you're supposed to know.
Sorry, I don't understand. Then there's no meaning.
No, Rashi says it's like a question.
Instead of making a question, you want to add a word. Say,
What I'm saying, he's acting like a grammarian. He's observing.
You can add the word nishmas. Nishmas su'udam, aitzah su'udam.
Don't fight the trees.
Is there like would you ever sacrifice like some text?
Wait, I can't. Sorry. What? I have more. Depends on you. There's some more. There's one. Yeah. Okay, I'm glad.
I don't actually think things fall out.
Okay, as I said, I'm not here to protect his opinion, okay? To defend it. I'm just presenting what there is.
Well, what do you think about it? I mean, you started it a lot.
I think that Ibn Janach is one of the persons that was always right, even when he was wrong. That's what I think. Okay. There are some people like that. So I want to have one more example. I have two more, but maybe one more.
No problem.
Okay, we're talking about Pshat, and we're talking about refining the tools we have, and we're talking about putting our nail throughout the knife, and what I'm saying that in order to feel those tiny, and the more tiny the bumps are, the more the more sensitive one needs to be, right? So that's example from our generation. I want to show you that according to these things I'm saying, really, sha'arei pshat lo nin'alu. The fact that sha'arei drash and sha'arei remez and sha'arei sod lo nin'alu, that's easy, because everybody can observe things from their perspective, from their generation, from their, okay. But Pshat, how many interpretations were written for 1,000 years now, and I see that all the time people are discovering new Pshat. Well, and when I say new Pshat, I mean like more gentle, more
refined. Exactly,
refined the Pshat. And like the quote from Rashbam, I think, right? Yeah, he quotes his grandfather, Pshatot hamitchatshim bechol yom, right? So that's another interesting example. I took it from the Torah, okay? That's I have two psukim here that everybody knows by heart, I think. In Sefer Shmot it says, ויקום מלך חדש על מצרים אשר לא ידע את יוסף. ויאמר אל עמו, הנה עם בני ישראל רב ועצום ממנו. So he's consulting his people. הבה נתחכמה לו, פן ירבה, והיה כי תקרנה מלחמה, ונוסף גם הוא לשנאנו, ונלחם בנו, etc., etc. So, we all get the scene here, right? We all get the what's going on here. But I want to speak about the word nitchakma, hava nitchakma lo. Now, I'm going to read Rashi, okay? Rashi says, nitchakma lo la'am. Nitchakem ma la'asot lo. Okay, so what he's emphasizing is the word lo, not nitchakma. Why? Because nitchakma is obvious from the word chacham. We know what chacham is, okay? Ibn Ezra says something like niten etzat chokhma or mashu kaze. We want to be wise against them, okay? Now, when looking closely, I have several small problems with that interpretation. One of them, that he's like he's asking his people, you know, they have all the mechashfim and the khartoumim, all the wise men of the world, to have a wise suggestion. What should we do in order that the Israelites won't, you know, become large and fight with us? Okay, so I would expect, first of all, to have the answer, their answer, what to do, and then the implication. Okay, that's a small problem, but I would expect a clever suggestion, because that's what he asked. Let's be wise. Okay, so let's hear what is their wise advice for him.
Bomb in Gaza is easy.
Exactly. וישימו עליו שרי מיסים. Let's you know, bump their head and, you know, make them slaves. That's not so wise. Maybe it's obvious that's the thing you should do, but I don't see any wisdom here. Do you?
Those were the tactics. Those were the tactics of 2,000 years ago.
That's how stupid he was.
And more than that, what does this information of being wise add to the subject? He could have said, give me an advice what to do in order for them to. Why do we need to hear of give me a wise advice? Okay. By the way, after what I read, Rashi brings the midrash. He says like this: "V'rabotenu darshu." Again, he goes to the lo. Nitchakma lo. Rashi says la'am. And רבותינו דרשו נתחכם למושיען של ישראל. נדונם במים שכבר נשבע שאינו מביא מבול לעולם. Okay, so Chazal says נתחכמה lo. It's not for the people, but for him, for God. We will be wise against God. Okay. Now, what drove Chazal to come up with this idea? I mean, the Pshat is very clear. He says, "Vayomer el amo, hine am bnei Israel rav." It's not in plural; it's in singular. Am, it is rav ve'atzum mimenu. Hava nitchakma lo. Okay, we're talking about the people, about the am. Why should we think that nitchakma lo is for God? It's obvious.
That raises the idea to an eloquent idea, like smart, like
exactly. I'm not sure if the thing that drove Chazal to this midrash is the fact that there's nothing wise in their suggestion. And what they suggest, what Chazal says, נתחכם ראשן של ישראל, and they say נתחכם, נדונם במים שכבר נשבע שאינו מביא מבול לעולם. That's very wise, because they think, how can we overcome them? Fire, not good. He's going to get fire on us. Shoot them, not good. Oh, we know, that our sages know that he already swore that he's not bringing Mabul to the... Okay, water. Now that's wise. That's clever. I don't know. I'm not sure if wasn't the catalyzer for this midrash.
It could also be a Chazal Tama Midrash.
But why? How would you come, if you were Chazal, what there. No, I mean, usually, I think one should find what took Chazal to say certain midrashim. They had goals, okay? They had something that drove them to do that. I mean, they could have said other things. I don't know. So, there was a choker that he said, no, Nitchakma is not about wisdom at all. The fact that we know this root, Chacham, and it appears many times in the Bible in that meaning, doesn't say that this is its exclusive meaning.
Right.
Okay. So, but you should rely on something else. So as I said, we keep refining our tools. So he compared it to other languages, other Semitic languages. Okay, Semitic languages from the Mishpachat HaSafot, the languages that are close to Hebrew. Now, he was not the first. The first grammar, Rav Saadia Gaon did that. Okay, Chayush did that, and Ibn Janach did that. They all compared to Arabic because that's what they knew. But now we know more languages than they knew because we discovered other Semitic languages. So he compared it to Arabic and to Akkadian. Okay, I'm not going to speak about that one, but in those languages, this very root chet kaf mem means to overcome or to control. Okay, up to this day, you have hakam in Arabic. I don't know, someone here speaks Arabic or no. The word hukuma is memshala, government, which governs. Okay, that's the basic meaning of this root in other Semitic languages. And when you look here,
what's the word for wisdom in Rishon Kodesh according to the Chacham?
No, it's the same root, but it has two meanings. It's a different meaning. What he's saying, when you imply the regular meaning, it has many problems in this context. But when you take a meaning that it's not so obvious in Hebrew, but it is in other languages, with this method, as I said, was implied already by the Rishonim.
Let's use our government tools against them. Let's tax them.
So what he's saying, Hava nitchakma, doesn't mean give me a wise advice. He says, let's take over them. Bo nishtalet alehem. Lama? Pen yirbe. It's very pragmatic. We should do that. We should overcome them. We should lishtalet alehem, pen yirbe. And then that's what they do. It's very simple now. Okay, it doesn't have to.
Does he have another pusik in the Torah where he uses that word for memshala?
What does it help with?
Okay, now that's interesting because
does that answer in Pshat? What does taxes help to take care of human control?
Again, I didn't get it.
What does taxes help to control population?
Leman anoto besivlotam. Well, I don't know. They were free. They did whatever they want.
Does it mean
they
like
multiplied.
Per person, so they're not going to have that many.
I don't know. Maybe they had a program. So first of all, let's make them slaves. Let's take control over them because otherwise they're going to keep spreading, right? You see, they're free. They can do whatever they want. First of all, let's take control over them so that they won't keep spreading.
Not spreading in kids, spreading in power.
Both, I don't know. So now what you asked, it's interesting because 2 days, this person that gave this interpretation, he didn't come up with another one. My brother-in-law and I, Ariel, just 2 days ago, Ariel, we encountered, במקרה, if you can say that, a pasuk from Tehillim, okay? Which says like this. I'm going to read it from Tehillim Kufhei. Now, we didn't really got into, really into it, but in Tehillim Kufhei, he describes all what's happening with Yosef and in Egypt. And he says, Samo Adon Leveto, like Pharaoh, Paro, he's talking about Yosef. Samo Adon Leveto, umoshel bechol kinyeno. What he can do, le'esor sarav benafsho, meaning he's now the ruler. He can le'esor, he can
Aanzetten.
put it in jail.
Jail.
Sarav benafsho, meaning in his will.
Yeah, Kirtzono.
Uzkenav yechakem.
And what?
Uzkenav yechakem. All the interpreters says, I don't know, something with wisdom, but none of them, makes sense with the context. But now we found out that's the very meaning. Le'esor sarav benafsho. He can control his sarim.
Even the elderly.
Exactly. So it may be another pasuk that corresponds to this very meaning. So that was very happy for us to discover. There is one more, but I think you tell me about a bite if we have like.
No, I'm not in a rush. People will have a lot of things to say.
What I wanted to say, I thought that I was talking about the Pshat and all
Chazal didn't cause the Pshat. They didn't have
Chazal wasn't necessarily aiming for the Pshat. They knew the Pshat, maybe.
They knew.
I think they knew at least most of it, but
let's say Hakim that you just said Pshat.
I don't know. I don't know what they knew and what they didn't know. But
what do you mean to say that it wasn't relevant to them, the Pshat?
No, I'm not saying it wasn't relevant. I'm saying that many times they have, for example, a Musar idea they want to tell us. So they make midrashim. Chazal wasn't. They didn't write interpretation, ratzif for all the Bible. That wasn't what they were doing, right? So we don't have what they thought the pshat was necessarily for each and every pasuk. That was the medaktikim, was what they did.
English was not the first.
So, actually, I can give you like hundreds of examples I've collected from old and new grammarians. What I wanted to show you is what I think the pshat is and how the grammar at least seeks to come closer and closer and closer to the pshat. And as I said, sha'arei pshat be'emet lo ninalu up to this day. So I thank you very much for everybody for coming, and I enjoyed a lot. And from my side, I'm open for questions. If
I have a question that bothers me very much. You think that Rashi went in to look up Pshat just like that, like a guessing game? You don't think that he worked off like a heritage, like a Messiah?